Good evening. It's 6 o'clock on Thursday, July 7th, 2016. Welcome and thank you for joining us tonight for the English edition of Aura News, where we bring you today's top stories translated into English every weeknight. The robbery at Rennes Airport and other proceedings related to this case will be investigated by the prosecution of serious crimes. 7 days after the event, the Kruya prosecution, which has jurisdiction over the Mother Teresa Airport runway, where the robbery occurred, declared themselves as non-competent to investigate the issue and transferred it to the serious crimes prosecution. This decision was made on Thursday as the Kruya prosecution, which was investigating 5 officials arrested for abuse of office, revealed that the case is above their jurisdiction and sent their investigative acts thus far to the prosecution of serious crimes. Sources close to the prosecution said that this decision was made because of the allegations that the robbery was committed by a structured criminal group. After this claim was made, the 5 detainees, including officials of the private security company, ICTS, the security guard who transferred the money, and the technical director of the airport, are expected to be retried by the Court of Serious Crimes as the competent court. Also, the prosecution of serious crimes is expected to investigate the other 2 robberies which occurred at the Rennes-Tirana road segment, as there is question that they may have been committed by the same criminal group, which has not yet been discovered. Yesterday, the Kruya prosecution procured all the evidence and documentation for this extensive investigation over the security failure at the only international airport in the country. The robbery at Rennes Airport sparked a great deal of debates in today's plenary session. Former Prime Minister Berisha accused the Prime Minister of being directly responsible for the robbery. A major criminal event happens every week. The majority is dominated by organized crime. The robbery at Rennes Airport is an act of governmental crime. The plane does not transport less than 20 million euro. 85 kilograms of euros were stolen, at least 20 million euro. This is not an act of an ordinary gang. This is an act of a senior officials gang. What happened at Rennes is a terrorist act, declared Berisha. The Socialist MP Bracha responded to the former Prime Minister, calling him a liar who wants to destabilize the country. I heard Berisha saying that the banks and the government are stealing together. This lie is pure Berisha, who only wants to destabilize the country. I call on the Bank of Albania governor to take a stand against Berisha's statement and to also take a public stand about the security of money in the banks. Also, I call on the Association of Banks to take a stand against Berisha's statements, Bracha said. The chairman of the Security Commission sent a letter to the Minister of Interior regarding the Rennes Airport robbery that occurred a week ago. In the letter, the chairman of the Security Commission is requiring information from the Minister of Interior about the event. This serious event needs a thorough analysis and complete information from the Ministry of Interior, avoiding issues that are subject to prosecution, he states. In the letter, he guarantees that the only information will be available to the Commission of Security and to Parliament. Earlier this week, the members of the National Security Commission debated the unprecedented robbery at Rennes Airport, where the Socialist Movement for Integration MPs and the Democratic Party MPs asked the Minister of Interior to report to the Parliamentary Security Commission over the issue. Donald Lu, the United States ambassador, continues his efforts to convince the political parties to reach consensus for the reform adoption. He has sent a clarifying letter to the MPs about the judicial reform and strategic relations between the allies. First, the ambassador explains in detail why the United States and the European Union oppose the reserved seats proposed by the opposition, but does not comment on its latest proposal. The United States and European Union have objected the reserved seats because this formula would immediately rank the members of the vetting commission in favor of the opposition or in favor of the majority. In fact, there is a range of proportional systems, including single transferable vote, instant runoff voting, multiple voting, elimination, and condorcet voting. Each of these systems would be fully proportional in accordance with the Venice Commission, Mr. Lu says, and that reserved seats are not the Venice Commission recommendation. We suggest that while you consider the recommendation of the Venice Commission, read paragraphs 61 and 68. The 2 paragraphs of the Venice Commission note that when the government and opposition cannot agree with a qualified majority of 3/5 or 2/3 of the votes for the election of committee members, And if the two sides cannot reach a compromise, we can consider the use of a proportional system. They do not mention nor ever recommend the reserved seats model. In the letter sent to Albanian lawmakers, the U.S. ambassador says that July 21st is the time to make a decision and invited them to vote in favor of the project despite achieving consensus or not. We support all the efforts for compromise. However, if political leaders do not want compromise and do not agree on a joint project, we urge that you vote on the reform. The chief of U.S. diplomacy has a message for Albania together with a warning. The USA has always been a strategic ally of Albania. Corruption now threatens the health of your society and weakens our alliance. As a NATO ally, it's in the interest of the U.S. that Albania remains a safe democracy. Driven by the U.S. ambassador's letter addressing the reform, the judicial reform occupied most of the debate in Parliament between the majority and the opposition. The former Prime Minister, Sali Berisha, did not refer to the U.S. ambassador's letter directly, but asked the majority to support the Democratic Party's proposal. You want to have control over the justice system. Rama can escape from Albanian justice, but not from American justice. The majority wants to exclude the opposition from the reform. The opposition has given a great contribution defending the principles of an independent justice system. I invite you to review the recent DP proposal for the reform. Rama should have the courage to sit with the opposition. Rama should not delay the judicial reform, said Berisha. Meanwhile, the Socialist Party considers the DP proposal an effort to exclude the United States and the European Union from the vetting process. The Socialist MP, Erion Bracha, had this to say. There is nothing new in Basha's proposal. That is a great lie. Basha wants to remove the internationals from vetting. Judges will be checked by the internationals. The parties, once again, show that they are far from reaching consensus on the judicial reform. The Democratic Party says that Bracha's statement is speculation. The Democrat MP, Bulibashi, clarified the opposition's proposal, adding that political parties are not included in the vetting process. The Socialist Party continues to speculate, trying to lie to the Albanian citizens. The Democratic Party made the proposal more than 2 weeks ago, and the majority rejected it without giving reason. It's not true that the DP proposal excludes politicians from the vetting process. We proposed a secret vote for the members, with candidates to be proposed by Constitutional Court under the monitoring of internationals, the DP MP said, adding that the opposition has withdrawn from the reserved seats proposed by Optat and Euralius and not by the Venice Commission. The Socialist MP, Pandeli Maiko, had this advice for the opposition. We turn our eyes to the U.S. when in difficulty, but then we reject the U.S. when it advises us to do something for our best, says Maiko, inviting the opposition to vote on the judicial reform. The first law the Prime Minister abolished when he came into power in 2013 was an integrated waste management law which had been approved by Democrats in 2011. The law paved the way to import waste and provide their processing using the Albanian recycling industry. It is now returning with a new formulation. 3 MPs, Edward Shalsi, Ervin Bushati, and Bujar Derveni, have submitted their proposal to the Assembly. Together with 2 other colleagues, I decided to propose in Parliament the removal of what are called the secondary raw materials from the list of imports, said the Socialist MP, who is currently the chairman of the Productive Activities Commission. According to his explanation, substantial changes have not been made to the 2011 law. This means that it can pave the way to importation of waste according to the green list approved by the EU. The draft that we propose will have a period of 2 years, long enough for the new local governments to design policies of separation of waste at the source. Its entry, control, and monitoring, in our opinion, is stronger than before. The proposed changes appear to once again create debate over the law. Transparence.al government portal explains that the Council of Ministers has not given any legal initiative and that the changes in question are a personal initiative of the 3 MPs. That's all for our English edition this evening. Please join us again Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m. for your local news in English. My name is Mari, and on behalf of Aura News, thank you and good night.